Hello and welcome. I'm Iris Whitelock from Art of Life Coaching, and I'd like to welcome you to this short video which is going to offer you a deep energy cleanse for 2023. Now, what I've noticed with a lot of New Year's resolutions is that the person, when they set them, there's huge energy and intention behind them, and it's all very exciting, and it's, like, I've got to make this happen this year. But one of the things that happens is if we are not aware of some of the energy leaks that we have in our nervous system and in our lives, we're likely to be building those resolutions and intentions on top of shaky foundations. So this video is about how to ask questions that find out where are your energy leaks. And then on top of that, at the end of having a look at all that, you be in a better place to have clarity about the kind of New Year resolutions that you want to put into place for 2023. So let's get started. So the first question is I'm going to do this in the first person, so you can ask yourself and pause after each question, and then you can write some notes. It's important to have the notes because you'll want to reflect back when we get to the end of the questions. So the first question is, where in my life am I distracted or procrastinating? The second question is, who or what drains my energy? What part do I play in that situation? How am I numbing out or allowing myself to get distracted? And how does that reduce my focus on what's important? What is the cost of that distraction? What or who are the most important things or people in my life at the moment? What do I yearn to do just for me? How can I find more time to replenish my energy so that I can attend to those things that I yearn to do? What can I do to let go of things that take up my time and take it away from the me time that I so badly need? What steps can I take to ensure I'm not distracted by unimportant tasks? What is actually important for me right now? What is it in life that inspires me, fulfills me, and brings me joy? Okay, so after you've made a few notes on each of those questions, the outcome that I'm hoping will come to you from this, which is something that I discovered as I was answering these questions myself, is that it puts you in touch with your inner wisdom. So there's a connection there with you and your deeper self that enables you to get the answers that are actually going to make sense for you moving forward. So by doing that, you're circumventing the ego to some degree. Ego will butt in there with a whole lot of objections as to why things can't be done. But do your best just to thank the ego for the protection it has given you in the past to stop you getting into dangerous situations or whatever, and reassure it you can actually manage this on your own. You're an adult now. You're no longer a child that needs to be kept safe. The safety that you will need will come from a clear sense and connection with your inner wisdom. So it's not as if you're acting in a totally dangerous and life-threatening way at all, but it's more that you're connecting with the part of you that wants to grow, and we all have that. So the next thing that we'll come up for us is limitations. We will be aware of, as I said earlier, the ego sort of kicks in there and says, oh, but you can't do this, you've never done that, so-and-so won't approve. That's not possible. Once you're visible, you're in danger. There'll be a whole lot of objections that come up, and as well as some sort of external ones, which are around, well, I don't have enough money to do that thing that I want to do, or I don't have enough time. So those are actually things that will come in to stop us expanding. So put the objection to one side and acknowledge that that might have been true in the past. It's not necessarily true in the future. And there are ways of solving these problems, of finding a solution. So the next thing is to refuse to run on empty. So many times we are overcommitted, and that's usually how we feel at the end of a year. And so that the next year does not end up being a repeat of that previous year, it's really important to make that commitment to yourself that you're not going to run on empty. Running on empty doesn't help anybody, doesn't help the people that you think you're helping by being there for them all the time and doing things for them all the time. So that's a really important solemn promise you have to make to yourself, so that you're able to have the energy that is available for you to do the things that light you up and create the kind of life that you want. So this is also to do with setting boundaries, and set them with compassion. So it's self-compassion, like, gosh, I know, this is something that is really important to me and I would really like to do, but I just don't have the time in this particular structure that this particular project is involved in. It doesn't work for me. So, for example, if you are the president of a group and nobody else is actually pulling their weight, and you end up taking the full thing on, and the group is going to collapse if there is no president. The thing is, we tend to, being very responsible, we tend to take it on personally that, my God, if I don't do it, who will? And the whole group will collapse or run out of existence. Something to remember is that all groups, organizations, have a life cycle, and they come and go. And when they're not refreshed, so if you are in that position where you're the one who's creating everything and you're feeling exhausted and tired, you're not going to have the energy to put into it and to make the organization what it could be. And it's a time to call for help and to reorganize, get clearer on people's their responsibilities, and not be the over-responsible one who feels that he or she has to be the person to keep this whole thing going. You're not. You're one of, if it's a community organization, you're one of many. And there are other people who can put their energy in and their creativity to make it work. It's less work. The more people involved, the less work there is. So have patience with your own process and your limitations. So, it's quite easy to beat ourselves up for the past year where we haven't achieved these things, and if we'd only had another 3 months in the year or something ridiculous like that, we just think, oh, in that case we would have been successful. We don't always have control over the time that things take. There's possibly a learning curve involved, and we're learning new things that take longer than we expect. I have this happening quite frequently with me, with the amount of new tech that I need to learn, computer programs and social media and all those sorts of things. So learning to be patient has been a real challenge, but it's also been a very good lesson because I'm stepping back from taking personal responsibility for failure, if you like, for when something doesn't work. Instead of thinking, oh God, I'm a terrible person, I can't do this kind of tech, I can step back and just think, well, it's just going to take a little longer than I thought. Keep going, persist. So have the courage to say how you feel, and don't feel embarrassed or unworthy or shameful about it. We're not superhuman, and there's a fair amount of publicity and promotion given to people who just look as if they've got it all sorted and it's all amazing for them, and they've not got there on their own, and it's usually looking bright and shiny and not actually, that's not always the real picture. So just keep that in mind, that things are not always what they look like to the outside. So the thing to remember is to keep your sense of integrity, your authenticity. You might not feel that you look the right way for a particular kind of profession or whatever. Those are superficial things. Keep to your values, and that's something that you can write down in this document. So choose 10 values, things that are really important to you for yourself personally and in your interaction with other people and in business. So those are the things that I hope will come out of doing those questions that I asked you earlier. So this inner awareness will help you set the intentions or the resolutions for 2023 coming up. And because they're going to be coming from that deep sense of what's important to you, your integrity, they will have a better chance of staying with you through the year. It's usually the things that we decide in a rush, like I've got to lose 10 kilos in 2 months' time or something like that. Those are more kind of superficial things. If you want to have a weight goal, for example, then you need to go a lot deeper as to why am I doing this? Is it just so that I look good, or is it so I'm healthier? The motivation is really important to get to the bottom of, so that you can make resolutions that stick. So I hope those things are useful to you. And I'll just have a quick look at my notes, see if I've left anything out. The other thing is, if you do find you've lapsed, if you get to June and you think, oh, I wonder what happened to my New Year resolution about whatever, go back, see if it's still relevant. It might not be. It might have come and gone in terms of being relevant or not. And you can also course correct. We can't predict which direction we're going in. It's something that kind of gives us some transient comfort to be able to think, oh, if we put these steps in place, we're going to get to that particular goal. It's not necessary, and not necessarily the way that it works out, but it's always worth having a path that we feel inspired and purposeful about. So the purpose is useful for us to be able to see in the distance, and it's like a horizon line. As you get closer, it moves, and just to accept that that is normal. It is normal not to have total control on your future. It would be lovely. Oh, I say it would be lovely, but we wouldn't learn the lessons that we need to learn if everything was totally predictable. Okay, so that's everything I have to say here today. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please click on like or subscribe to this channel, because that all helps with my algorithms, and then I'll be able to direct videos in your direction. You're going to be more likely to pick them up. when I've done them. So all the best, and enjoy this process, and I hope it gives you clarity and focus, and a sense of purpose comes from it as well, in terms of what resolutions and what things you want to explore about your life this year. Okay, thanks. All the best. Bye.